Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 11th episode of the Chatbox. We are super excited to be here. We have amazing guests here. I have 3 hosts today, and I'm really excited about that. 3 of the ladies, and I could say I'm a little bit part of it, the Vail Valley Theater Company. We are all going to be here to talk about so many wonderful things, and our fantastic guest, Emily Landgraf, and you are a therapist, and we are super happy to have you here. Not because we have any afflictions or anything like that. We don't, I don't know. But it would be great to have somebody that can listen and chat and give us an idea as to maybe a little light that we're all, we're all different ages. We are literally 3, generations. All of us are like 3 different generations, so this is really cool. I like that a lot. So we all have different outlooks and points of view, but we also...
I'm the grandmother.
No, you're not.
Oh, yes, I am in this room.
You're the cutest grandmother ever.
Well, I didn't say I wasn't the cutest grandmother ever, but...
That's Swearingen, everybody. One of the most amazing people I know, and talent as well. Mm-hmm. And why don't we just go around the room, and then we'll give you the platform. But I'd love for everybody to know who's on the panel.
Hello, my name is Beth Swearingen, and I'm a very long-time local, and I am going to represent the 60-plus community tonight.
No.
Guess what, Mama? I'm in the 60-plus community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just act like an idiot. So.
My name is Jenna.
Yay, Jenna! Jenna Skinner, everybody. Amazing musician, in case she doesn't mention it.
And I've been here for 24 plus years.
Woo!
In
Wow.
Valley, and I just turned 49. Yes. Although my dad thought I turned 50. And I said to that effect, he asked me, how was my 50th birthday? I went, well,
I'll let you
it
know.
went great because it's next year.
I don't remember a thing.
And where's my card?
Yeah, where's the money in the card? I don't care how old we get, I still want that money.
Oh, that ended a long time ago, Liz.
Mine did it. I still get a $100 bill every year.
From my mom. What a dork.
It's so weird. Okay, and then, of course, beautiful Jen, who is the second half of this podcast.
That's true, and I am 43, so I'm not far behind you, Jenna.
I liked 43 better.
If I ended at any age, it would have been 42. I always picked 42 because you were kind of wise, not feeling too crickety yet, and past all the crap.
I love my 40s, I have to say, because I think that, my 20s were absolutely crazy and I didn't know who I was going to be, even though they were fun and wild and whatnot. My 30s, I was filled with doubt and had no idea what I was doing. And I think when I hit my 40s, I started to feel more comfortable with myself and my body and my life and just, came into my power, I think, finally, which is
That's amazing.
Still a work in progress, and I'm still figuring that out. So
And
I
guess
don't
what?
at all have it all figured out whatsoever.
In 10 years, you're going to be like, I can't believe how naive I was.
Well, my 40s were insane.
It's weird. I mean, but it is. It's a beautiful growth, especially for a female, just to experience the changes, except for those changes. Those changes can go, But I used to be hot. Now I'm just freaking hot. So, things change. Things really do change. But the growth that we make as women is incredible. The way we are more, I can only speak for myself. I was never as empathic or caring or whatever that word is. Nurturing. I don't have kids, so I don't know what the word is. I was never super nurturing until I hit a certain age, and then all of a sudden I felt like I could be everybody's mama. It's weird.
I love that.
It's weird. So rubbing up against my leg here. I don't know if anybody can see that. That's Goose. Goose is a therapy dog, right?
All the way.
All right, Amelia, we need to know who and all about you. First of all, you're so beautiful. Look at her. She's supernatural. Not supernatural, but you are super natural and beautiful. And I just love that you're here, and we're super glad that you were referred to me.
I was.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm just grateful to be here with all of you ladies tonight, and thank you so much for having Goose and I. He's hiding under the table. Goose is my therapy dog.
And he's hiding.
And he's hiding. As Liz mentioned, I'm a therapist here in the Vail Valley, and I haven't been here 30 years, but almost 20.
Nice.
You're almost a local.
I'm almost a local.
Yeah,
almost.
She's the baby local of the
I'm
group.
the baby local. 2.5 years.
So I'm just grateful to be here, and so is Goose, and excited about what we're going to talk about tonight.
Well, first, what I would like to get out of the way is what your occupation is. I actually looked you up today, and I just think that what you do is amazing because so you work with individuals who deal with, listen to all this, you guys. I could check off almost all these boxes, which is really sad. Anxiety, depression, child or adolescent, grief, caregiver issues. That's one thing I've never had to deal with yet. Substance use, women's issues, and the LGBTQ plus community issues. I'm assuming because a lot of people, we've had Mountain Youth on here. Mountain Pride, sorry. We haven't had Mountain Youth yet. We will. Mountain Pride, we've had them on
Mountain
here.
Youth needs it big time.
I know they
Unfortunately.
really do. No, I've learned a lot about Mountain Youth and all of these programs that we have so many programs in the Valley, yet we still seem to have a lot of lost souls. And the purpose of our chat box isn't to take over anybody and give them advice because we are not professionals, but we do like to bring light with a professional and wonderful people in our community. We like to bring light to people in our community and give them a platform, and then we can all discuss things that are weighing on us or issues that bother us about anything else in life. And I like to throw it at our hosts. Mostly I'm kind of here just to talk for a minute and then throw it at you guys. But would you mind giving us a little bit of your background and what made you go into therapy?
So I think we all bring with us our own journey. And I was a school teacher here in Eagle County for 10 plus years and a coach. And I absolutely loved it. And something stood in the way of my kids learning, and I couldn't figure out what. When I say my kids, I'm just referring to my students. And after the pandemic, I decided it was time for me to go back to school and get my master's in counseling. I also lost my father in a tragic death in 2011. I've had my own road to recovery. And one of the things that I believe that I can do to give back to my community is to help those in need. And I just want to give a shout out right now to the Hope Center. I work PRN as a crisis counselor, and just please a resource that is open and available to anyone in this community 24/7, 306-HOPE or 988. We're here for you guys.
That's incredible. There have been times where I've been at a place where I would have loved to have had, and I've never been at the point where I was on the edge of something, but I have been pretty dang depressed through a lot of things. I've been out here only 15 years. However, through a lot in the 15 years with people and businesses and jobs and just a lot of stuff. And it's always great to have just a touchstone, even if you don't have like a regular therapist or you don't have the means to get a regular therapist. There's a lot of reasons why people don't end up going to therapy. And I think that if we had a number to call and just have somebody on the other end and just not a computer and somebody to just
and
say
that's what
hi,
we're here for.
You know, because
your crisis is your crisis.
Yeah, I mean, I've waited for a wellness check one time. It's 3 years now, right? Well, this is for a different organization. So what I'm saying is that it's really great to know that it's here, and I'm terribly sorry about your pops. Really, I mean, it's a lot of people have such a connection with their parents and their family, and when they lose that, it's like losing a part of themselves. So I relate to you. So thank you for being here, and I'm really excited. So we'd like to do a wellness check with our peeps when we first start off. So Beth, I'd like to start with you. How are you feeling lately, and what's weighing on you?
Well, I think like everybody, I have my good moments and my bad moments. I was not sad to see 2023 go and kick that to the curb. Mm-hmm. It was a very, very challenging year for all sorts of reasons. I had my son was very, very ill. We thought we were going to lose him. Thankfully, he's made an absolutely 100% recovery, doing really well. But and then I've been speaking of caregivers, I've been a caregiver for my 96-year-old mother-in-law who is mostly blind and deaf. She took a fall in the fall, broke her hip, and has had to move into skilled nursing care. So that's been a whole new avenue of navigating the guilt, for one thing, of being a home caregiver, and then
why guilt?
Well, just because they're rarely happy about moving into a nursing facility, and especially because particularly at her age with her vision and her hearing issues. She's disoriented. She doesn't know necessarily where she is or why she's there, and really would rather be home. And I know I have eyes on her all the time when she's home, and now I'm having to, give that up to somebody else, and just the guilt of being afraid that she's feeling like we're just passing her off as opposed to doing what's really in her best interest.
My heart. I
Yeah.
get it.
And so it's been a road. It's definitely been a road. I'm coming to terms with it. I'm definitely coming to terms with it. And I know it's the best thing, but it doesn't make it an easy thing.
Right.
And I'm not even going to get into the financial aspects of everything that goes into it. So
I can't imagine, because I've only heard stories about how expensive it is to go to a facility such as what you're discussing, and to have the means to every month pay that money. And I mean, that's a lot. And just knowing you're impressive, because nobody would ever know you're going through stuff in the outside world. Do you know what I mean? You don't wear your day on your face, which is a nice thing, but then again, I
just think that life is very, very yin and yang, and I'm very lucky to have. Actually, a lot of the women who are in this room are a great support system, and to be able to, it's really, really important to have.
And how's your son now? I need to know.
He is amazing. He has made a full and complete recovery, and in fact, he's in the process of leaving tomorrow morning for he started college after all of this, and that was really a paradigm shift for him. And he's studying outdoor education, and he's going to spend the next 5 days doing camping in the Utah desert and through school. And
I love that.
So he's totally passionate about all things outdoors. And
we've talked a lot about that on the podcast too, and how crucial the nature and outdoors and being active is to our mental health. So that's excellent. I love that he gets to do that.
Yeah.
No, it really is. And it's probably very cathartic and healing for him, because
Yes.
he's probably going through a lot of emotional trauma from being sick and almost losing. I don't know the situation, but if you say you almost lost him, for you as a mom, that must have been just earth-shattering. And then for him as a young boy, wondering what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's all... Have you ever dealt with a situation like this in the family?
Absolutely.
And would you have advice or anything?
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it as a family. I just think one of the things that you brought up is you have a community. And having a community and a group that you trust, that you can talk to, is such a big piece.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think so too. Because sometimes you feel alone in things because you just feel like it's only it's obviously only happening to you. But then there's so many people that care and love and want to be there. And talking things out is really cathartic, without a doubt.
And it's an interesting time that we live in. And I have 2 young adult children. I have a 22-year-old and a 25-year-old, and
you started late, lady.
I did start late. I did. But, both of them and virtually every single one of their friends has dealt with depression and anxiety. And so it is absolutely rampant. And, personally, we could go down another rabbit trail, but I think that social media and the disconnection of sitting across a table and looking at somebody in the eyes and having a conversation and understand context when they're speaking. And, you read something on a page, you don't really understand, are they being funny? Are they being droll? Are they being...
You never catch the actual connotation.
No.
Absolutely.
And, and that's something that I find really for our young people, it makes me really sad that they don't have that kind of team that I had growing up of people who are around.
It's a different foundation.
Completely.
Absolutely.
And it's the opposite for me. We're in the same age group, and I felt like when I went through trauma and PTSD and all the good stuff, I had nobody, like my family wasn't that clingy type, no helicoptering in my world. So nobody asked me, would you like to talk about it? Would you like to discuss what's going on? So I'm glad that we had different worlds, because you seem definitely somebody more capable of dealing with big things, and that you already know kind of how to go about dealing with stuff.
And I don't think, honestly, you know what you can deal with until you're confronted
Until you're
with
there.
it.
That's
Absolutely.
big. But isn't it empowering when you find yourself on the other side of something that's been so massive and life-changing, and then when you go through the all of the stuff, and then there you are, like,
I survived this.
yeah.
Yes, and maybe even more than survive. Maybe you come out on the other side of it enlightened in some ways.
Stronger.
or-
Yeah, absolutely.
I have the goosebumps talking about her. I just do. I think thank you so much, first of all, for sharing that. I mean, I've known Beth several years and know none of this, but now I want to be closer to you.
Well, let me tell you, we got a group of girls that
I
meet.
know. Well, I love girls. Just check it out. Come on. I want to join in on the party.
Here's my fruit.
This is not fruit. Sorry. It's like somebody hit me in the chest. So, does anybody else hear that weird noise? That was really strange. We can edit that.
They're moving furniture.
Oh, okay. So now we are going to move on. Before I go to Jenna, both you ladies have been in the Vail Valley Theater Company for, 20 years or something like that. Forever? No?
09 for me.
Since 09, and
Since before dirt.
before dirt. And that was sand, by the way, before it got wet, just in case anybody's wondering. But I find that since I've joined a couple of the things through the theater company, it has changed me as far as I'm a very... Shocking everybody, I'm a little anxious. I have anxiety a little bit, just a little bit. And then I go through a lot of emotional issues. And since joining the theater company and taking the improv classes and trying to be in a play and things like that, I feel like that has helped me grow as a person who was never really good to themselves. So I've always blamed myself for all the crap. Oh, I would be your favorite. You sit down with me and be like, whoa, I can't take it anymore. But I think it's really cool about the theater company. I do think it brings people, there's a lot of the people also from Mountain Pride that are part of this, and I think it's helping them feel like they have a community and there's a little bit of a family.
+1 over here.
+1, yeah. So
Absolutely.
for sure, you've done a lot of firsts since you joined the theater company, and you feel like you've come out of your shell and have found a new part of yourself.
100%. It was like finding a family and a community. And you were mentioning how important it is to have that. And I think that, I was here, so I said 2.5 years. I think it took me 2.5 years to actually start engaging with the community. And once I got into Vail Valley Theater Company, then it was just, it just snowballed. And then like all of a sudden.
Embrace all of it.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like
singing classes, dancing classes, chorus.
all of it. Well, and it was kind of how it snowballed, where it's just like, I was like, oh, I don't think I can do this, And then realizing what a supportive community and amazing humans, and just being able, especially if you hate yourself, there's something about being able to step into somebody else's character in life that is just so freeing and just feels so amazing. And even though it's pretend and make believe, but you just get to to be somebody else for a minute, and like
it's
that
amazing.
feels amazing, and I love that part of it. And not that I hate myself, but like,
no, I know what you're saying, but you go through self-loathing stages, or maybe
even,
like challenging points.
yeah, and getting to kind of try on a different skin and just to see what that feels like, I think is just absolutely incredible. And to do that, like, I think having that supportive, open environment that the Vail Valley Theater Company has just been phenomenal.
Yes,
like, and it's not only are they supportive, they teach, it's education, like they are very, I was a first timer, like to all of it.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so
we started a few at the same time. I stopped at the singing.
yeah, and just being welcomed with open arms, and and developed in a way, kind of judgment free, and just was just absolutely amazing. And so, and now I want to throw my whole self into it, which is exciting. And
I've watched
fun.
you last year. We've been really close because of you guys. I've just watched you grow into like such an empowered woman, and you now know what you want. And you're not letting anything get in your way. And before it was, before it was like,
process.
okay, sure, you can step on me a little bit more. But now you're like, and I love that about you. So that's a fantastic thing. So joining groups, doing some art, going to listen to music. We have two amazingly talented ladies here. So I'm going to get into the Fabulous Femmes because you guys are incredible. And you're the only musicians I know that work all year long. Like, they never are gigless. And I want to get into that towards the end when we're going to do a bragging session about everybody here and how you can reach out to us and find out what we do and all that good stuff. But Jenna, my love, I would like to find out a little bit about you and where you are sitting these days.
I have a lot of issues.
Yay. Me too.
No, really, I really do. I use humor as a defense mechanism instead of talking about things. So actually, I find it very difficult to talk to people, and I don't have anyone to talk to.
Oh.
And there was a time, it was really about a year ago, I was really actively trying to find a group for angry grievers.
Angry grievers.
I'm an angry griever,
Wow.
and I know that, and I'm still angry. And
Okay. Do you know why you're
and
angry?
there's no groups in this valley.
Maybe we need to start one.
Yeah.
We
I think
should,
that would
because
be amazing.
It's really hard for me to help other people because I don't
Because
know
you're
what
angry.
to do. Death
But
row
you're
makes me
talking to
angry.
somebody now a little bit, right?
Yeah, not about that.
Not about that.
About the other issues.
Do
I
you-
have so many.
Do you at all want to explain what the difference between a sad griever is and an angry griever?
I only know my experience,
Yeah, that's okay.
and
You're just mad that it happened.
there's so many things that just a lack of responsibility on doctor sides, like just the whole why did it happen? Why are there crappy people in the world that are
Still
running for president? You know,
that's a
like
whole nother session.
you just said that Russia and Saudi Arabia are in a war, and why does this person get to live when the best person in the world
Now that I understand.
died?
I do understand that.
It's just very unfair, and
It
drives
is.
me crazy.
So what do you do to channel your anger at all? Besides music?
I don't actually channel it in music. I can't.
You can't?
No,
That's interesting. You're a musician.
no. But I'm not a songwriter.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. No, because that's where you're putting all your thoughts and emotion. But I have seen people play the crap out of their instrument when they're in a place, you know.
That is not me.
That's okay.
No.
Because you're great at what you do anyway. So what do you do to challenge yourself to make yourself feel better?
This is one of my issues
Okay.
because I don't.
All right.
So that's
So
it.
she's stuck.
Yeah. I do a lot of work. I work probably an average of 45 hours a week, and I like that.
crap.
I'm very confident in that. Lately it's becoming very acutely aware that I work a lot because I feel it's safer.
Something you
For me
can
to-
control, right?
Something I can control, and I'm not. I'm pretty unabashed about my knowledge, and I've done it for a long time, and I feel very confident in it, and you know, I'm trying to help the
You don't have
community.
time for pickleball anymore.
I can't. Well, I can't do
Joy,
pickleball 'cause
joy, joy.
my hips conked out on me. I don't know why.
Her hips don't lie.
My hips do not lie, and I can't do. And that's one of my problems. That as I get older, and I feel like I'm in chronic pain, and I can't do stuff so that like I'm starting to gain weight because I'm getting older, and I'm like I can't do anything about it because I'm in pain. Like my largest muscle group is
The core.
betrayed me.
Yeah, and we're all probably
Yes.
a little, not you yet, but a lot of women go through that, and menopause has something to do with it.
Yeah.
But what kind of pointers do you have for somebody that, I feel like you're stuck, and I feel like you're doing, no offense because I love you, but you're not doing anything to get out of it, and maybe you should find one release.
Well,
So
I
it
would
could
like
be
that, but
and then you can play pickleball again because you can get back out. Low emotion is lotion.
it's true. There's very few times that and things that I do that give me pure joy. One of them singing.
Okay, well that's beautiful. I need your voice.
And
proves it.
our band hasn't barely played at all lately, so that's really problematic.
Okay.
But I'm also I just work a lot.
Okay. Emily, what do you think?
Well, I think when we get stuck, it's easy to stay stuck.
It's almost like a comfort zone, right?
Right. And we need to let people know. So I think even just saying I'm stuck helps the people around us say, hey, it's okay for me to reach out. Like she said, she let me know that she was stuck.
Right.
And I personally think one of the easiest ways, if you are stuck, to reach out and you're not ready to reach out to another human being that's right here in the right now, is through music is great, but just through authors. I have a couple authors that I always turn to. They're just like, please just bring me up. I just need something to get me moving. I think life is like a river, and we don't know what's coming next, but it's gonna keep going. And so keep trying different and new things. Keep looking for, like pickleball. You're like, okay, I can't do pickleball. What about ping pong? What about foosball?
Right.
Something
silly.
Yeah.
And ask other people. I'm stuck. And just saying it out loud, I think, is the first step.
Yeah, my counselor told me this morning that I've started the journey out of survival mode, which is a big thing,
Yes.
which is very relatable, and which is why I'm very focused in my job, because I'm trying to desperately help the town of Avon get housing and things like that, because
Thank you.
I've suffered from
Yes, thank you.
housing insecurity, which is very, very, very real.
Yes,
And up
absolutely.
until
Especially
Only-
if you're a renter and not a buyer. Everyone's
Correct.
like, oh, I'm going to get kicked out any minute now. Keep your stuff
Or they're
close to
gonna
the suitcase.
Jack it up, and I'm not
Oh,
gonna be
yeah,
able
the
to
rent, you
first.
can't afford
Well,
it. Yeah.
there's even more than that. I was talking to Sue over from Salvation Army today. We had lunch
Sue
together
Wallen
today.
Brown.
Yep, and I was talking about there's a couple of things that I would love to bring to this valley. One would be like Denver did, which is licensing landlords.
Ooh.
So if they fail to be a good landlord, their license can be revoked and they can no longer fulfill that
Oh, I
role.
love
which
that.
I love. Or have a determined level of dignity in all units, which means you can't live in a unit that has carpet that has formaldehyde in it because no one's changed it in 50 years and they're charging you $4,000 a month.
Well, it should be
Absolutely.
Mm. So those are so I get very passionate about helping others in that way, because I have a very interesting nervous system. I actually remember how I feel going back to when I was 3 in
She's
situations.
doing me so like it's very nuts. I'm the same
Right,
way.
which is why it's
Wow.
really hard for me just to like shake it off. It's not like a mental thing. It's like
I don't
it's
shake
even
things off
worse.
as easy.
No.
It's
in your
very
core.
It's
hard.
deeper than that.
It
Yeah.
goes into your...
So anyway, so I really do focus a lot of energy on that, and which means, oh my God, there's so many layers.
Yeah.
Being an ignored child, which means I
think we
low
kinda
self-esteem, which means lack of self-love. So when you tell me like, hey, just go do something new, I'm like, I won't do that.
Exactly.
Even if you
I don't
thought
think
maybe
like that.
if I create this force field for myself to just do it anyway, because then you'll realize, wow, that was fun after all. If you just push, it's kind of like getting back into an exercise routine where you're like, oh God, I know, and then what you do, you're like, oh, that was exciting again, and then and you kind of want to feed off it a little bit. So I just think that what you said, Emily, is important to find other aspects. But the fact that your work is giving you pleasure and you're doing things to help others is
The service
big.
piece.
And
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
giving
people
back.
who have experienced some sort of trauma always want to do that. Well, look, you became a therapist. Me, you should see me. I'm like, I don't care. If I see somebody sad and I don't really know them, I will reach out to them and say, do you need to talk? Because I just know what it's like to feel anger and frustration and insecurities and sadness and fear and
Well, I think Jenna
Lost.
brings up a really good point
what's
because,
that?
well, and so knowing you, like you are a very logical minded person, and so a lot of the typical like healthcare advice that I feel like you get, from the internet or wherever, it's like, oh, like practice positive affirmations, that kind of thing, and it's like for me, I'm like this feels ridiculous and this is absolutely nonsense because like I can't, you know what I mean? Like it
I
doesn't.
hate those things. They drive me crazy.
But I mean, it does work. I'm not saying it doesn't work because I've absolutely experienced it too, where I'm doing it and I'm
Do
like,
you have a
okay, I
vision
feel
board
this.
is what I want to know.
I don't have a
Okay.
vision board because it makes me angry.
See, even I have a vision board. So, just so you're aware.
I don't don't know.
That's
Like,
impressive.
It hasn't changed in 5 years.
That's okay.
She hasn't had the same vision. It's all right.
Yeah, but no, I do a lot. I do a lot of that stuff, and I listen to, like, I love Jen Sincero. I love like all those things about like how do you interpret the universe and all this jazz. And so I do that.
That's amazing. I don't.
And I find a lot of it. I don't have a lot of time, so I work. I have a cerebral job, is what I call it.
Yeah.
I'm always in my head.
Yes.
And so when I get home from work, I don't want to do anything else.
So what's it like when you live with
tough.
another person, your significant other? Do you guys talk about what's
No.
going on? Not at all.
That's-
No, it's not that.
Communication.
He's also a traumatized.
I'm not a singer. But.
Traumatized. He's also traumatized.
He's also traumatized.
Yeah, parental traumatized.
Oh, so everything everyone's mentioned, I've been through all of this. So it's like I feel like I'm just like in a circus right now in my own head.
But it's funny because I'm listening to this, and Jenna is a good friend. We've known each
Yeah, I
other a
know.
long time,
Yeah.
and we've done a lot of things together. And once again, I'm feeling that guilt because it's like, she's a good friend. Why haven't I been reaching out? I've been such a bad friend.
Because you've had your own
No,
stuff.
no.
She's not asking for
No,
it,
I know,
so you don't
I know, but it's another one of those women.
Yeah.
It's
But
like
you're not Jewish. I'm just wondering because that guilt is deep with her.
yes, my guilt is deep with you, my child. Yes,
Deep guilt.
but yeah, that's another just funny thing.
But
I
what
think
you realize
as
is that you're just being her friend is probably enough for somebody like Jenna. But if Jenna wanted to say, Beth, I feel like I really want to talk about something, which would probably blow up everybody's mind because you won't do that, then you would be there. So there's no guilt to be had.
Yeah, I recognize that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do recognize that logically speaking, but it's still my first gut reaction is, what can I be doing to fix it? What can I be doing to help?
But see, doesn't it make you feel, kind of good that you have somebody that loves you so much?
It does, and as a non-coddler, which is what I call myself, Liz. It's not that I'm not a nurturer. I just don't coddle because I had to take care of myself since I was.
Yeah.
I bought everything myself.
Right.
Put myself through school. Bought my own first car.
Me too.
There's nothing.
All of
There's
it.
nothing that I can really say that was given to me.
Were you a middle kid? I'm just curious because
No,
I was
I'm the
ignored
youngest.
too.
I'm the baby.
You were ignored as the baby? That's a bunch of Really? Because I got my little sister or younger sister, whatever, got all of it. And my brother was just an annoying teenager, and I was like, "Hello, pick me," and adopted on top of it. So, being ignored and adopted, I felt just like you did.
Oliva, never before has a boy wanted more.
She got me stomped. I got stomped.
Hey, Vail Valley Theater Company. Yes, the musical Oliver is all about
Are you
the.
saying like I'm like Oliver?
Yes.
I am sad. I am sad. Yeah, please tell me. I was going to say that before. Please tell me I have some more. But so that's just like one challenge. And so I know also what it's like to not. I have always felt like if I talked about things that have happened to me in my life, I would have stigmas attached to me, and I didn't want anybody to look at me different or see me as somebody that might be a victim. I've gone through everything with the exception of nobody's killed me yet, but I have been through a lot, and I have been through so much, and I've only used myself to get through it and to deal. And after I was 50, I realized.
You don't have to. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's good. I want you to. The way I was reacting to situations, like, I use humor too. I literally went into stand-up comedy 25 years ago because I couldn't afford therapy, and that was my therapy. And it really worked, oddly enough. Standing in front of 300 people telling them my shit was really cathartic and releasing. I don't know why. It's because talking about it. I think it's just, it doesn't matter. Like going to a bar and finding this cool bartender that looks like they're interested in what you're saying, and then you end up talking for like an hour and a half and giving them all your problems. So it's the same kind of a thing, but after 50, I realized I don't want to be so freaking angry anymore. I am so tired of carrying anger and angst and anxiety, and I don't say I have depression. I always say I have depressive episodes because I'm in it now. I'm probably manic. You know what I mean? Because I go here and I go there, and I'm, there's not really a happy medium unless I'm asleep. And then I'm really dreaming weird. But so my point is that going to somebody like you, I went to EMDR, and I know you know what that is. If in case I
movement destigmatize.
Right, that.
Yeah.
So when you've been traumatized to a point where you're like, I've never done the work on this. I'm going to see what's about EMDR. I even almost maybe recommend it because my big thing was anger about a lot of stuff. So I had to pick and choose one of my traumas because you can't go through all of them at once during EMDR. You literally have to focus on what you're trying to get. And you never get past stuff, but you can actually... It ends up stored in this little, I call it this little cabinet we got back here. And it goes in there and the drawer gets shut. And all of a sudden, your reactions change. And the way I dealt with situations, instead of getting, I found myself having this odd calm about me. And so I recommend EMDR to a lot of people. It was dramatic for me. It changed my entire, and I'm just mad that I waited. You know, like my biggest tragedy that happened in my life, I was 19, and I waited till I was 50 to work on that. I just walking around like a little warrior, like, don't you touch me if I know it's messing me. That's not healthy. But that's the way I was, a little Tasmanian devil, and running around, just living life and being crazy. But so when I realized, and I'm glad that you see somebody, Jenna, because I think it's going to really make a big difference. Ask about EMDR.
I haven't seen her for years.
Oh, okay. That's even amazing.
Oh,
because
she did tell me that I had talk with her in
did you ever
6 months. But
talk about EMDR?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You can
So
explain
it's a type of trauma therapy that some of us are trained in and some of us are not. I have experienced it as a client and a patient and very, very grateful.
How do you feel about it as a client?
I think it's part of what saved my life.
Wow.
Is that some of us carry traumas in different ways, and some of us, we all have different ways of dealing with it. And for me, the EMDR took me back to my childhood, and I had some stuff that I needed to deal with, and now I can look back on that same childhood and be like, okay, there were some good parts too.
Well, can you explain kind of the process of it?
Sure.
I'm not familiar.
That's important.
Yeah.
So with no one can really just dive into any type of therapy. I think like your first, as a therapist, the first thing that we work on with anyone is building a therapeutic relationship and then diving into certain types of therapy like EMDR. And my own experience was working with a therapist and using tapping and going back into my childhood memories and getting back to those places that were so scary that I couldn't move through, but having a safe space now, that little girl having a safe space now to look back and see them for just that. And
that's incredible.
So is that like kind of the same as like reaching or trying to find like the inner child and like talking to the inner child?
definitely,
and, like,
absolutely,
meeting the needs?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And but for me, the EMDR was specific to my inner child, but EMDR can address all different points in life. It doesn't just have
it's
to be
so
that.
weird. I mean, I literally felt like I had a big nap afterwards, and they put something on your head and then in your hands, and so you don't even have to verbalize it. You can literally, in your own mind, okay, you have to go step by step what the scenario is. So
And it's a process. Sorry,
Yeah, please.
EMDR, like so many
different for everybody,
It's different
just
for
like
everybody,
anything.
but it can be anywhere from 5 sessions to 25.
right.
And it just depends.
Right. I can honestly tell you one session of each trauma was good because it was just like I wanted it bad enough at that point. But you have to literally live through what that scenario is, but you don't have to talk it out. You just have to visualize it. And you all are doing something. I don't know what you're
I am
doing,
not
man.
trained in
Okay, so
EMDR.
whomever is behind
But again, for the
scenes,
client, from a
They're
client's perspective, yes,
doing-
it's a lot of where is it in your body. It's a lot of tapping to sort of as something that's consistent and helps you get through it.
it's so bizarre. I don't know.
And not everyone does tapping either. There are
Right.
different.
Well, mine were vibrations, and it was like it felt like it was going like from one side of my brain to my hand to the other side of my brain to my other hand, and then whatever he was doing and then he would make me stop and say, okay, now how are you feeling right now? And
A lot of check-ins, right?
yeah, a lot of check-ins, but I have to say, like you just said, it changed your life and it saved your life. For me, it saved my sanity a little bit because I was really just running on my own. I don't even know what you'd call it. Just like it was just kind of like existing with this stuff.
Is it similar to hypnosis, or is it?
It's different.
It is different than hypnosis, but I think there are some similar aspects.
The way you
as
feel
well.
when it's done.
Yeah, and like the whole like you need a nap afterwards.
Yeah.
But I think part of the thing with trauma is that it can only live under the rug for so long, and how it surfaces, if it isn't looked at, or if you choose or you don't know how to get it under the rug, is it will come out in ways that are destructive as well. And so for me, EMDR was an alternative to, obviously I said I was in recovery, so for drugs and drinking.
Yeah.
And that sort of helped the process for me.
Gotcha.
Started
That's
to find
amazing.
my way.
And then I've never heard of it. So how did both of you find out about this? Like,
I found out
were
from
you
my
referred?
therapist, my
Okay.
psychiatrist. I was in their office, and I was just going. I had never opened up, and so when I went in, it was like, bleh! I'm like, holy crap. They realized that the way I react and act in life is based on what's happened to me, and I've never really resolved anything, and it never is going to change until I do something. And so they recommended it to me, my psychiatrist, therapist, whatever. So
Got
yeah, that's where I got the idea from. And when they said to do it, I didn't even think twice. I was like, I'm tired of being in this frame. Does that make sense? Just being in this mind frame. So.
And I think, like, as a therapist, we want to work together. So, like, we all have different specialties. So after we build that therapeutic relationship, we can say to our clients, this might be something that you want to try, but I don't offer that service. But here are people that do.
Right.
And different things for different people.
Right. So it might not
Absolutely.
be for everybody.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay. Got
It's
it.
an option that's out
it's
there.
Not for
Yeah.
it's not for everybody, but just there's so many different things that we can do to have an outlet and to do something for ourselves. And I always like to bring it back to a little self-love, because I always say, if anybody ever talked to me the way I talk to myself, I'm not violent, but I beat their face. You know what I mean? Like, how dare you? But yet I do it all the time. Do you guys
The
do
analogy,
that?
sorry.
You know, it's funny. I call that my roommate, and I used to talk to that. I used to talk to my kids about that.
Really?
I would say, if you had a roommate, when you think about the voice in your head when you're talking to yourself, if you had a roommate who said the things to you that you say to yourself, you would completely banish them from your life.
Yeah.
You'd say, you need to move. You're
So
unhealthy.
Why do
you're
you think we're still doing it?
It is a
Self-talk.
mystery. Yeah, that I mean, monkey mind, but
I never heard of monkey mind. I don't know what that is.
it's just when the noise that's in your head is really hard to quiet it
I thought
or
it was
to
like
calm
my
it.
brain throwing poo
But
at other
why is
people.
it so often negative self-talk?
It's to the point where I've been in today alone. I'm such an idiot. What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, like, I do it all
And
the time.
I'm looking at you being like, oh my gosh, what an awesome mom. She knew to talk to her kids
I know,
about
that's
this.
impressive.
And this is the thing.
I think my parents are the ones that told me I was the idiot in the beginning.
And
that's why it sticks. And that's why like, my dad used to be like that.
I was
He
told
used to-
nothing.
Oh, God, nothing. So you got zip. You didn't
I got
even get,
nothing.
like, you're amazing or you're shit. You didn't get anything in between.
I remember when I was in grade 12. And I say grade 12 because I'm Canadian.
oh, God, I was going to ask. Sorry, I'm like,
And I was sitting there, and I was trying to. Parents were dropping me off at school, and he's like, "What are you gonna go to school for?" I'm like, "I think I'm environmental science." He's like, "What are you gonna do with that?" I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Well, is that a good choice?" I'm like, "I don't know, and I really don't know now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what I think the intention was is for me to go, "You're right. I need to be more specific and do all these things." I'm like, I'm not going to do that, because obviously, if you've talked to me my whole life, well, is that putting doubt in my head?
Right.
I don't have a self-esteem. to stand up to that, I'm just going to go, oh, great, I've made another mistake. I'm not trying hard enough. I'm
You
not
second guess yourself.
Women in this room, can I ask you all to do something tonight?
Yes, please.
Tonight, after you get done brushing your teeth or whatever your nightly routine is, look into those eyes in that mirror. And don't say it once. Don't say it twice. And use your name. And say, I love you.
Oh, God, I've said I hate you so many
And-
times in the mirror. Oh,
and-
my God.
You're worth it.
Oh, you really are.
And we the positive self-talk can start with us. And it can start once a month, it can start once a week, but it's got to start with us. And I just feel, again, so grateful to be in this room with strong, beautiful women.
Aw.
And you need to know that. And I sincerely mean that.
Can I offer something that I think I might have told you this once before? I have a friend she's a yogini, and she's in San Miguel de Allende, and she's been practicing yoga and has a retreat in Mexico for 20-something years. But she's always had this spiritual mindset. She was always into yoga before people even knew what yoga pants were. You know what I mean? She was always into it. And she was always trying to help me out because she knew I have had and still work on it bashing hardcore. Like I just, and probably because my dad was always, making me feel worthless, and he would tell me I'm awkward body wise, and he would say, "Don't drag your knuckles on the ground," and call me Bertha because I had a butt and nothing else. So like my dad was not very good for my self-esteem. So that didn't help, and then a lot of traumatic incidents that had occurred to me, where of course I always think, "Wow, what's wrong with me that all this stuff always happens?" So I was in a really hardcore self-disgusted phase, just like I've never wanted to. When I was a kid, I used to bite my arms. It's kind of like cutting, but I couldn't. But I would bite myself out of frustration. I never knew what that was because nobody in the family gave a crap to ask me, why you have those teeth marks on your... Nobody cared. You're in Florida. You're not covering it up. But my friend Melinda gave me this piece of advice, and I just think it works for anybody at any age, especially if it comes from our childhood where, literally, I was adopted into a family and felt like, the only attention I got was pretty negative. And then my mother was obsessed with the little one, the daughter, her real daughter. My mother's my adopted mother. So I get it. And I used to also think I was like the ugliest little kid. I used to think I was this ugly thing. I was like this skinny, dirty blonde, curly haired, big, stupid green eye. Like I just looked like a little alien. This is what I thought when I looked at myself. My sister was plump, blonde hair, blue eyes. Everyone was like, and then she got it all. And so I felt ugly since I was a kid. I've never felt like I was like up to par with anybody in school that was super beautiful. It just followed me through my whole life. And then Melinda says to me, she goes, do yourself a favor already. She goes, get a picture of yourself when you were a little girl and go sit somewhere quiet. Look at the picture of the little girl and tell her you're sorry. Tell her you're sorry for all that you've put her through. Tell her you're sorry for all the things you've said to her. Tell her you're sorry for never believing in her or for others making her feel like she shouldn't have been the best that she ever's been. Well, I find this cute little picture of me. I'm in a little leopard spotted bikini, super skinny, lanky and awkward, and big poof of curly hair. But I wasn't as alien-like as I thought. I thought I was adorable. When I looked at the picture, I was like, God damn, I was cute. But I never felt that way. Never, still to this day. But my husband couldn't find me for like 2 hours. He finally finds me in a closet, sobbing. I felt like I pulled an exorcism on myself. I just stared at this little girl, and I just felt so horrible for drugs, alcohol. I put myself in a ringer, self-medicate, all of it. And I just looked at that little peanut and was just so... It worked. Like, it worked to the point where I loved myself for many years after that. I was really good to myself, and then, it starts creeping back in. So now today I'm still at that point where I'm like, okay, I gotta do something with self-care, so I'll go paint my toenails. And that is self-love. That's self-love. Any little thing you do for yourself is loving.
And it's hard.
It's hard.
And self-love is hard. And I think, like, why I challenge you with this mirror thing is maybe tonight you can't say it, but all you can do is look in the mirror and and just lip service.
I would start laughing. I know I would.
And because we all bring something worthwhile to the table. And we need to remind ourselves that, because there will come a time when we may stand alone, and we need to rely on that self-love or that confidence or that strength.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And so if we plant it and we water the plant.
Oh, I love that concept.
Yeah, I know.
That
And
it's
you
a
can watch
seed
it grow.
that you're...
And there's so much in there, but I feel cynicism with myself and Jenna. I think that you would probably do something like that. I know you would. And I think that if you practice stuff like that, like the little girl thing, I couldn't believe I did it because I didn't even want to lose myself. But I did it, and it really did help for many years. But now I'm kind of back to my old stupid self. But
We got to find that picture.
yeah, I still have that picture.
I bet you know right where it is.
I do. Of course I know exactly where it is, and it's never left that place, and I haven't looked at it since. But maybe I should bring the picture out again, and maybe just fucking talk to somebody. You know what I mean? I know. I swear. It's just crazy when you have your stuff, and, you know, we can all survive till the end of our days, but then where's that tapped in joy that we... My biggest thing is I call myself a happiness seeker, because I've always wanted to find pure joy, because I've always been through it. Something's always, you know what I mean? Yesterday alone, I got bit by a dog and stepped on a rusty nail. I mean, this is my life. It's always like that.
Oh, but you found your bag, and I told you would.
So
Have faith.
You did. Yeah, I lost my purse today, too, and she made me feel better, and I went and found it. So, yeah. So,
Well,
And did you reach out to your friend?
Well, I
she-
came in hysterical and shaking and like that. So no, I didn't reach out. I just came in all clamped.
Speaking of dogs, we have your
Yes.
awesome, amazing puppy here. And so could you just speak a little bit about how you use your dog as a therapy dog? And, like, is it personal therapy dog, or do you use him with clients? Like,
So
Goose, everybody.
Goose, I have, so two things. I always thought I would visit schools where they would allow dogs, and I always saw positivity and a connection that kids could maybe find with the animal that they couldn't find with the humans in the room. And so once I got out of teaching, I was like, whatever I do next, I want to incorporate, and for me it was dogs, into my work. And they are calming.
I'm like all of a sudden like, oh no.
It depends on the dog.
Yes, I will say yes. There is fair. But just being able to, as a little kid, most of us or some of us had a blankie or a stuffed animal, and that's something comforting that was between our hands, and that's
an
what the
emotional
fur.
support llama.
Oh, but are llamas cuddly? I don't know. I just think of spitting, and that doesn't sound awesome.
Sounds perfect for me.
But he comes into the room and he can lay at your feet, or if a client wants to engage like you do with him, he's right there. Kids love it because they're used to seeing animals with service vests, and with a service animal, the goal is don't touch it.
Don't touch the dog. Yeah.
And so this is a therapy dog where the more that you touch him, the happier he is. And it's just, I do think, just like I think of the libraries and the reading with dogs. As a therapist, one of my goals is to be non-judgmental, and that's one of the things we are taught again and again. He doesn't even have the capacity to be judgmental.
Right.
So you don't even have to worry about it.
Just so you know, I actually do reading buddies at the Avon Library. I'm going to do it again next week. I was just there last night with my dog. And kids who have, through the Literacy Project, kids who have struggles with the reading, they read to your dog. It's
so
really
cute.
wonderful. And it's something that I don't have kids and never cared about them. And when I'm around these kids now, it's all of a sudden I feel like this new found warmth and experience that I never really kids. But now when I see them trying so hard and they're reading to Bailey, my dog, it's the sweetest thing. And for some reason, like if I was a kid and I wanted to read this to you, but you're a person, it's like unleash the I don't really care. But if you're a pooch, you're like unleash the whatever they're doing. But my point is that they want to do it for the dog. It's so weird.
Aww.
So you are 100% right. And so I would like to throw a shout out to the libraries out here that do stuff like that, because the kids have emotional challenges when they can't read proper yet. When they are having struggles in education, I know that then it causes self-doubt, lots of confidence and all that. I could keep talking all night long with this, you guys, but I know that I would keep looking at my clock and it never was rolling, but we're rolling. So I just don't know how much time we've done, so I don't want to run past our time because it's been incredible. This is the brag hour. We're not doing a hot seat tonight because I felt like we've been on the hot seat all night. But it's hot. So what I'd like to do is a little bit of a brag right now, and I'm going to start with you, Beth. Let everybody know why you are such an important part of this community, because you are. I feel like everybody in this room does something for our community. And what you do with the Fabulous Femmes and all of that good stuff, so everybody has a little bit more insight and where they can find you and be entertained by you.
Yeah, I have no idea how to answer that. I can say that I am a working musician in town, and I play with the Vail Valley Band. You can find us on Sunday nights at Route 6 Cafe. I play with a wonderful group called the Fabulous Femmes, and we're in different places at different times all over the place. This week on Wednesdays and Fridays from 3 to 5, you'll be able to find me up in Beaver Creek playing music with Peter Fontanez.
Oh, Peter, he's great.
So most of my stuff, I'm a musician with the Vail Church, so I'm there on most Sundays, and I'm very involved with the theater company, and I'm a fitness instructor, which really...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it brings me a ton of joy, and it holds me accountable on those days that I just don't feel like getting out of bed.
I need a class.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I might be skinny,
Yes.
but I am out of shape, like bad.
And so, yeah.
That's amazing.
What I would love to say about Beth is that you're also such an open space for so many people, where you are so welcoming and such like an inspiration, and just a warm human that just accepts everybody for who they are, and you do, I feel like, care about their growth and like their trajectory, and I just see how you affect everybody around you, and it's such a positive light. So I am so grateful to know you.
That's so beautiful. Oh my God.
I just wanted to share that.
That's lovely. Well, thanks you for being here, for not just being one of our special guest hosts, but for being here in the community and bringing light to so many people that otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to do certain things. Like for me, when I went to the theater company and stuff, like I knew you guys doing it, and people I knew who did it. And when I joined in, you were so comforting and warm and sweet and kind. So I get it. And it was very comforting for somebody that was scared to death.
Well, I truly, truly believe that the performing arts have a really, really unique way of touching people.
Absolutely.
Whether it's people who are watching in the audience, but it's transformative in terms
really
of being
is.
involved.
Absolutely. And it also is for the person doing the work as opposed to watching it as well, right?
Yeah, and it's just, I love performing. Obviously, I've spent my life doing that.
Yeah.
But I was having this conversation with my daughter the other day, in fact. It's that, but the thing I think that really gets me excited about it is not the performing, it's the whole creative process and the working together as a team to create something extraordinary together, and to you develop friendships in the performing arts in a way that I don't know many other avenues.
And there's nothing
Absolutely.
superficial about the friendship. I mean, it's weird. I feel like I have a newfound group of people in my life that are like family since I have become more involved with you all. It's I have a whole new fun group of family people, and
it's
family is the people you choose in your life, not
No
the people
question.
you got stuck with.
But it's also a very accepting,
Yes, absolutely.
very, very accepting and open-hearted and open-minded.
Yep.
I just need to ask something. If people are interested in becoming a part of the Vail Valley
Here's
Theater
the greatest
community,
deal. It's $20 a year.
well, how do they even get involved? Who do they
the
reach
fact
out
is
to?
you don't even have to pay that $20
But
a year.
if you don't
If you
want
want,
to, right.
a membership. So where you start first off is you go to vailtheater.org.
Right.
Theater spelled with an R-E.
Theater.
Vailtheater.org. And if you go there, if you get on our mailing list, then everything that we have happening,
Yep.
you'll get notified. If I can do a couple of shameless plugs, if that's
Sure.
okay.
I mean, improv, the Valley Voices are coming up.
Absolutely, yes. So currently, if you don't feel like you're ready to audition for something, or that you have 6 or 8 weeks to devote to rehearsals, we have all sorts of ways to get plugged in. We have theater dance classes through CMC. We have a monthly improv night led by Gina Parrish, who's just absolutely wonderful.
Fabulous.
This past month, we had our very first inaugural theatrical chorus,
Which
Wow.
was amazing.
which was very successful and wonderful. We have a few things coming up. We have something called Valley Voices, which is going to be April 6th.
We're
Now,
telling a story.
which I love. I am too.
Oh, you are? Oh my god.
But if anybody is a fan of NPR, the Moth Radio Hour, it's basically a local version of. I took it. I started it last year because I really believe that everybody has a story, and I love the Moth Radio Hour. And it's like, I know so many people who have so many interesting stories to tell, and so. And still, if there's somebody out there listening who has a story to tell, it's not too late because the show's April 6th.
And how do
so
they reach out for that? Just
go to vailtheater.org.
And I
and
had
send an
lunch
email.
or coffee with John Tetchum today,
Yes.
and that's the host and the person that's doing has a lot to do with this, and he's meeting with everybody who's telling their stories, and that I went through some ideas with him, and he gave me his thoughts and which story I decided to run with.
Yeah.
And we're going to meet again next week, so I'm going to go over my beginning story and tell him how far I've come along, and then we're going to have one rehearsal and then a day of a run through. So it's not that anxiety feeling. You know what I mean? You don't feel like you have to dedicate your mind and your story. And I just feel like anybody should do something like this, because I think, especially if you have to get more comfortable in front of people or something like that. This is your opportunity to do that. Or improv is really good to get yourself out of your comfort zone. Yeah. I've done stand-up comedy for 25 years, and I am the worst. I was really, really bad at improv. And then I took the Groundlings and was terrible and spent all this money for no good reason. And then I waited 20-something years, and then I started the improv with these guys, and I'm so much happier, and it cost me $10. And, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not expensive to be part of the theater company. And the cool thing is, if you do pay for the yearly thing, you get to take part in all these things, and you get to learn about them real fast.
Yeah.
And
you get to hang out with awesome people, it sounds like.
Look at this. We were in our first play ever in an ensemble cast. Neither one of us have ever acted in our lives, and the improv classes gave us the nerve.
And we are also, speaking of which, coming up in April, we'll be having auditions for Cabaret, which is going to be our summer show. And so once again, go to vailtheater.org, theater with an R-E. And you can get all sorts of information about that. Come out and audition for the show and become a part of the family.
And I am very sure that this particular production, you guys will be guided and nourished, nurtured, and treated kindly. And if you are nervous about auditioning, you'll have people like these ladies that will make you feel comfortable. And
in fact, I've been asked to teach an audition workshop. I don't have any
Which will be
information about that
amazing.
yet, but it will most likely happen before auditions. So,
wow. All right, Miss Thing, get over here.
I don't brag.
I know, I don't want you to anywhere. Just do it anyway.
But you're
no,
amazing, so you should.
I swear she should be on Saturday Night Live. I just picture you hosting that show. I don't know why.
Well, because I'm funny.
You are funny, actually.
Damn funny.
I really am.
She is. She's
really I have
very
that deadpan
Yeah. I love
humor.
it.
That's why I'm actually, I do like improv. I am no triple threat, though. I'm not an actor. I'm not a dancer.
Me either.
I just like to sing and make stuff up. Anyway, I do love performing, though. That is the one thing. And so I suffer through all the theater stuff just so I can perform.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. And I started the group with that group, although I'm not on the board anymore. I've stepped back because I just don't have the capacity at the moment. But I did it to expand.
Yes.
Nice.
That's exactly why I did
That's
it.
a
I love
great
that.
reason.
Yep, and I did. I still forget that I've been with the theater company for so long because again, I don't act. I like to be in the back.
It's okay
and
because
that's
you're
fine.
always there and you're always doing something, and that's fun. You know, and you do amazing. Behind this beautiful lady is this logo for the chat box. Jenna did this for us. Okay, I gave her my idea, and that's where she came in strong. So all kinds of graphic work that you have done in the past, and just for us alone, I am superbly grateful. I mean, look at that. That thing's amazing, and I love how it says blah, blah, blah,
So she's
blah,
funny
blah, blah.
and she's creative
That's
and
right.
artistic.
And she's also the singer
Compliment she
and
doesn't wanna
player in Hardscrabble, an amazing local band
Oh,
that they'll probably be out more in the summer because I know that you've been grounded for this winter.
Yeah. Bands have a harder time than
Yeah.
the independent or the duos.
Yeah,
or
it's,
the, or the
it's
single,
interesting like
single
that because you can do
musicians around here.
private parties and little things.
Right.
Bands are a big group and it's a big undertaking
Yep.
to have there. But we can't wait to see you guys get back out there. And all right,
Yes,
so
'cause I'm definitely unbalanced because, like I said, all I do is work, which is good.
But it's good
because
to a
I'm making
point.
I'm making strides. I'm the planning manager for the town of Avon.
right, that
And
is also a
as
huge thing.
such, we are I find that our accomplishments. We're like high five in the office, and no one will ever know what we've done.
It's this
We're
silent
like
work.
the silent
Yes,
heroes
that's important.
of the
Absolutely.
valley.
Yes.
But I really do I like to do that. But yeah, it's life is this valley is tough.
Yes.
And it's tougher on you, and especially when you're like I am empathic, so I actually the safest thing for me to do is to hide because I can soak up whatever's around me.
Yeah, I get you.
Which is really tough. And when
It is.
yeah.
And it's hard being empathic because not only are you dealing with your own energy, then you're picking up all the other energy from others. And then
yeah.
it becomes this dichotomy within your whole system, your brain, your stomach, your mind, your heart, all of it. Because
Yep.
I covered more alike. Just from this last hour, I've realized you and me are so alike. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you on the stage and do some stand-up. Can we do that? Can we work on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my
the
God.
hard part for me is I can't remember anything. That's
So
why I'm
be
not an
like all the
actor.
other
I don't
comics
remember
and
lines.
Just lift your hand. New comics, they write their stuff on their hand. But then if you shake hands with the other comic, then they're going
I
to do
know.
your set. So you gotta be
But
careful.
not much.
and I'm like on Saturday Night Live, don't they hold up the big poster boards? So
See, that
they-
would be
You know what
easy.
drives me
You can do
crazy
that.
about Saturday Night Live is they
I'll do that
they
for you.
look off. They're not. They don't look at each other. It makes me nuts.
Because they're
So-
reading.
But see, come on, man. You got famous actors on this show, and you guys have been doing this show for how many years? But like, if I'm doing a scene with you, I'm like, so Jen, why don't we go over to the movies now instead of like, hey? So that always drove me crazy about Saturday Night Live. You can't take your.
Beth,
you
is
can't
that
read
called
it. You
cheating?
can't
I'll
look
tell
at
you.
your partner.
Yeah.
Drives
Is
me
that when you
nuts 'cause
cheat to the audience?
It's been there.
Right.
It's been on TV for what 30 years, and they still do this.
The girls that do that. Oh, welcome to the show.
Oh my
you
God.
can buy this. That's how I feel like I am on stage.
Right, it's very bizarre. I think more natural is better. So I appreciate all that you do for the town of Avon as well, because I know that you're dealing with a lot with the new parking structure. I had to register my car yesterday for
And
at
that's
the
not
library.
even us. That's really just PD. So
Yeah.
we're just kind of there. But and, I'll tell you, I will say something about me that I am pretty psyched on. I'm an audiophile, and so I have an amazing relationship with sound. And so if that's anyone out there that likes some relief through that, I do like binaural beats and things like that.
I
But-
Is that sort of like me with tinnitus and stuff?
no,
No.
it's just it's different.
It's just more of a
It's different
therapy.
frequencies.
Oh,
We don't function, and even instruments are not tuned to the right frequency
Okay.
that people actually respond to.
what does this do for people?
Anyway, it's just for me, it's relief.
Wow.
Sound makes me relax. So my goal, and actually, I've met friends because we hit a note that's really bizarre when you have a big chorus of people and there's like 15 different parts, and when certain things come into alignment, I respond to it. So if I ever had, if I was ever very wealthy, all of a sudden, I probably would subject myself to testing to see what frequencies I actually function on.
I
That's
love that
impressive.
idea.
That's super cool.
Why do I like this song better than this song? Why?
Do you ever
and
want to
figure that
come
out.
sit in a studio with me and play with frequencies?
There's actually a whole new science on music frequencies and health and how it
Correct.
affects your
Yeah.
psychological,
Yeah.
you know.
So that's what
well-being.
If I could take my knowledge now and go back in time,
Yeah.
I would definitely want to study.
You're still so young,
Study
you can do
sound,
anything.
and that's why I like dialects and how people say things and accents and all that jazz. Like to me, like that is the
I love that.
best thing in the
love
world.
that.
So anyway,
I have a great ear for music, and like I can pick out all the instruments that I'm listening to a song, but I'm not musical. It's so weird. Like,
well, when I was a kid, so my mother could sing, and she listened to a lot of Crosby, Stills and Nash,
yeah,
and Simon and Garfunkel.
can
And
hear that on
when I was
104.7 The Mile.
when I was a kid, I would listen to them, and I'd be like, first off, I could isolate each part, and I could learn each part just by ear, just hone in on the tones and things like that. But then I listen to Simon and Garfunkel. I'm like, why aren't they singing in this space? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, they're only here. Like this is where they're at. I can see their voices, but what about this space?
So
Right.
And so I ended up
That is really
and ended up
Mm-hmm.
finding the empty space to sing, and I didn't understand what chords were. I didn't understand where notes were, but I could hear when it came into alignment.
Wow.
So that's the stuff that I did when I was a kid,
That is
and I wish
so
I could do
cool.
it
That's
more
interesting.
because it's way more fun than
But you can.
getting frustrated.
And this is something that you just basically told all of us that would bring you joy.
It is joyful.
So
I
there
just
we
want to get
go.
with other women and make sound.
Sound.
All
I
right,
love
yeah,
this.
Let's try it right
actually
now.
talking
Everybody
about
come up with a
that.
noise. Ready?
Om. They say Om is actually it's the all of the vowel sounds all
I wanted
together.
to come
and
up with
so,
a frequency, people. You've messed me up. Ready? Same sound.
Except for we each have to take our own frequency.
Yeah.
Like you have to go, oh.
Okay.
Now I feel like we're in
Like it made me feel good though.
the dark crystal.
I got a little that, but like a little vibration. I liked it. All right,
Well,
we
yeah,
have-
that's good.
yes, go ahead, sweetie.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's part of it. It's how that reverberation goes through your system and what
totally
your
good.
nervous system
I can
reacts to.
feel it.
Yeah.
I want to learn more about that. I think
I
that's
love
really
sound.
intriguing.
can do a sound
Sound.
bowl.
I love
Oh,
sound.
I love sound bowls. I like
I do
any
too.
like I go into my chiropractor's office and I always have to do the little things. I always have to hear that. It's like
Oh,
you're
the
only
chimes?
person. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. They remind me of 80s cheesy rock. With the drummer's like,
Oh, that's
I'm like, oh my gosh, you're
mine,
killing me.
Mine feels a little bit more
I have,
zen than
I have a
that.
cheese sensitivity. Not a dairy sensitivity. I have a cheese sensitivity.
I am
yeah.
cheese. Yeah, I'm allergic to cheese.
I think it was Dreamweaver.
Dreamweaver, Love that song, by the way. Emily, you're amazing. We can't thank you enough for being here. We want you to tell everybody perhaps how to reach you. So maybe if you feel a little lost or need a little guidance, or you're going through anxiety, depression, all of the stuff I mentioned earlier, possibly you are there for them. So how do they reach you? What's your email address and how long your practice is for and what you do?
So again, just grateful to be here with you women tonight.
Yay.
And my practice is downtown Eagle. Emily Landgraf, PLLC@gmail.com. And I have a sign outside my practice right on Broadway, so you can't miss it. If you're like, where do I find her? Just drive down Broadway.
Do you have a sign that says depressed? I'm driving into that.
And there are so many wonderful resources in this community, and I think that people get stuck on where to start. And I just want anybody to know
Nice.
out there, I'm happy to help you as a place to where to start. And my sort of saying on my website is meeting you where you're at, no matter who you are, what you're going through. And as a private therapist in this community, I want to meet you where you're at. So at least please reach out. That's the first step. And for those that are suffering in silence, please know that the Hope Center is here 24/7.
That's amazing.
306-HOPE. If you're not sure and you're like, what do I do? Call 988. They'll connect you to our local Hope
That's
Center.
amazing. 988. I didn't even know you.
Is
could
the
do
Hope Center anonymous if you call in?
that. Yeah, that's a
So
good question.
this is a good thing, or a good question too. So when you call in, it is anonymous, but we do our goal is to keep you safe.
Right. Of
So
course.
we will ask you questions like, will you please give us your name, your phone number? But when you call, just like 911, it is anonymous for that second, and then we ask that you share information so we can help to keep you safe.
Gotcha.
But 100% HIPAA compliant, 100% confidentiality. I know in a small
See,
community,
HIPAAs don't lie. I told you that before.
I know in a small community, people get really worried about that. We're a safe place all the time.
It's I'm going to spell out your website because
Okay.
Emily is spelled very fancy. EMALEA.clientsecure.me. That's in the
That's my
website
website.
that you
Thank
can
you.
look at and reach out. This is what B does.
Thank you.
There you go, everybody. Hi. Okay.
And just a reminder that everyone is worth it. And so if you don't know where to
Thank
start,
you.
just pick up the phone.
Absolutely.
that.
988. Jen and I are going to be like 988, and we're going to be conference calling. Look, mine's worse. No, mine's worse. Mine's worse. I don't care.
I'm not competitive, Liz.
Oh, that's right.
I will win.
I don't know about all that. Well, listen, this has been a really great, wonderful hour, and all you beautiful ladies have made my night. Thank you for coming in and sharing your stories, your feelings, and the process that we're all going through. And Jen, I love you so much, and thanks for being my permanent host here on the chat box. And you guys, I want to bring you back a lot more often because you have so much to offer, and you as well. So we will all do this again. This has been a wonderful girl chat for the chat box right here, and thank you all
With
for
this
tuning
awesome
in.
Chatbox logo.
Hey, Jenna. Thank you, Jenna.
All right, thanks again to Beth, Jenna, Emily, Jen, and
Goose.
Goose. Goose is loose, everybody. And I'm Liz. Have a beautiful, beautiful week, and we hope something magical happens to you guys. Thanks very much for tuning in.